Hello everyone, welcome to this lesson where we'll be talking about CSS transitions. So first of all, what is the CSS transition property? And what can it do for us? Well, transition is a CSS property applied to a specific element to make other properties of this specific element change smoothly over a given duration, or animate it in a nice way when hovering over or, for another example, focusing on that element. Let's look at an example of what I mean here. In my HTML, you can see right here I have a simple button. And here in my CSS, I've added some styles to the button. You can see I just changed the height, the width, and the font size to make it bigger, changed the text color to white, and removed the border, then added a blue background color. And you can see in the browser, here is our button. Now, let's add a new CSS declaration. So I'll go right here and say button on hover, meaning when I move my cursor over the button, I want to change the background color to green. Now, if I go and hover over my button, you can see the blue background color changes to green. And when I move my mouse away, the background color returns to blue, but you may have noticed that this change from blue to green is happening so fast, it looks like an on and off switch. It feels pretty mechanical. I think it'll look much better if this change happens more smoothly. And that's exactly what CSS transition can do for us. So we said that the transition makes the change of the CSS properties occur smoothly over a specific period of time. In order to define a transition, we need to use at least two things. The first is the CSS property that will change from the initial state to the final state. The second is the duration, meaning the amount of time that this change will take to complete. Makes sense, right? So in order to do that, we need to declare two CSS properties. The first one is called the transition property, which is the property you want to apply the transition to or make change smoothly or nicely. In this case, it's the background color. And the second one is a transition duration, which is the span of time that the property will take to change from the initial state to the final one. Let's say 1 second. And now when I go and hover over the button, you can see that the change occurs smoothly in a nice way and is much better than before the transition was applied. And when I move away, the background color returns to blue nicely. Now, the transition duration property can accept milliseconds as well as seconds. For example, I can change this 1 second to, let's say, 3,000 milliseconds, which is actually 3 seconds. And when I hover over the button again, the change should occur in a longer duration.